Hey guys, so today, like I said, it's Thursday. I'm gonna do the movies based off of true crime, and there's actually a movie on, drumroll please, Gein, also known as the Plainsville Ghoul. So, like I said, there are movies based off of Gein, so there's like a lot of, different ones. Let's see. Psycho, or based off of his life, For one, Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, 3 on a Meat Hook, Deranged. There is a lot of different movies based off of Gein in particular. So, as we all know, Psycho, Norman Bates was a prime example of how Gein was in reality, but there was some parts taken from Gein to make Psycho. And there's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but very loosely inspired by Gein because of the human skin wearing the, body parts, cannibalism. Silence of the Lambs, easy. You all know Buffalo Bill wanted to be a woman, female human flesh, making suits out of his victims, as did Gein. There's a movie called 3 on a Meat Hook, and tells the story of 4 young ladies whose car breaks down in a small town. A local farm boy helps them out and ultimately lures them to his family house, where his killer father waits to eat them. Like Gein, Frank has an obsession with his dead mother. So before I read the whole of Ed Gein's biography, I'm just going to be reading the things, I'm getting my information off of the web and book sources, and I've been watching some stuff on YouTube and other medias. So sit back and enjoy. If you guys have any suggestions, you guys can hit me on my Snapchat. You guys can hit me on my voice message thing on Anchor. If you guys are listening on Anchor, there's a voice message box. If not, you guys can do my socials. Odd Talks with the Odd Broad on IG. Drop me a link or a message on what you guys want to hear. So this starts as day 1. I'm going to be doing this for up until Halloween. I've been kind of strategically planning what I'm going to do. But Halloween, guys, I'm going to be covering the Cannibal Cafe. If you guys don't know what that was, it's actually a forum where Armin Meiwes had found his willing victim, Bernd Brandes, and you guys can connect the dots there. But right now we're focusing on Gein. So back to the movies. The Deranged in 1974, perhaps one of the closest films to that depicts, not dick pics, but depicts the life of Gein. The slasher comedy drama centers around a middle-aged Midwestern farmer who overly religiously mother's dies, keeps her corpse around to satiate his dark desires, begins to rob corpses from graveyards so that he could keep his dead mother company. Yeah. Then there's Ed and his dead mother. Dark comedy. Child of God. Oh, this looks kind of fucking tense. A film co-directed by James Franco. Holy shit, James Franco did this? Child of God was an adaptation of Cormac McCarthy's 1973 book of the same name. Although McCarthy's book was inspired by the real-life murderer based in Tennessee, a character shared many similarities as Gein. In the film, the main character is a loner who lives in the middle of nowhere and whose necrophilia comes to life and grows upon stumbling upon dead corpses in a car. Fucking yikes, guys. There's more movies on Gein, so I'm trying to find some more for you all to enjoy if you guys want to watch. Okay, did that. Said that one. said that one. There's actually one called Ed Gein. There's 3 different types of movies. It was released in the U.S. as Ed Gein, but in Australia, it's also known as In the Light of the Moon. So, there's actually a thing that they said that he admitted to donning his female suit and dancing in the full moon. Dancing with the female suit on. Well, he had 9 vulvas stuffed in his shorts. I mean, how does one possess 9 vulvas? You just go and digging up female chicks and cutting their shit off and, doing what will. So, if you guys don't know, like I said, Ed Gein has a lengthy file to read. And right now I'm reading off movies that are based off his life. And we start off with the other one, considered House of 1,000 Corpses and also The Devil's Rejects, due to the members of the Firefly family and their cannibalistic / necrophilic / people wearing trademarks. Let's see. Then you have a 2007 edition of Ed Gein, The Butcher of Plainfield. Kane Hodder, if you guys don't know who he is, he's actually one of the very many actors who played Jason Voorhees. So, alright. So, I'm just like, okay, I'm just reading this shit off for you guys. There's so many movies out there, it's just like crazy. Yeah. They actually have documentaries on Discovery Plus, YouTube in their entirety. There's different movies. Ed Gein. There's like a bunch of Ed Gein different. Some of them just named Ed Gein, all together. So, let's find out about the man behind the movies, shall we? Like I said, guys, if this is gonna be a strict trigger warning. If you are squeamish to the thought of necrophilia, cannibalism, disembowelment, dehumanizing a corpse, this podcast episode is not for you. So you can scroll through my other episodes and enjoy those. If it's too much for you, I completely understand. So, no hard feelings. Alright, here we go, guys. Edward Theodore Gein, born August 27th, 1906, died July 26th, 1984, known as the Butcher of Plainsfield or the Plainsfield Ghoul, was an American convicted murderer and body snatcher. His crimes committed around the hometown of Plainsfield, Wisconsin, gathered a widespread notoriety in 1957 after authorities discovered he had exhumed corpses from local graveyards and fashioned trophies and keepsakes from their bones and flesh. Gein also confessed to killing 2 women, tavern owner Mary Hogan in 1954 and a hardware store owner named Bernice Warden in 1957. So if you guys want to know about the trinkets, I'll get to that later into the thing. So we'll get into it right now. He was initially found unfit to stand trial and confined to a mental health facility by 1968. He was judged competent to stand trial. He was found guilty of the murder of Bernice Warden, but he was found legally insane and was remanded to a psychiatric institution. He died in Mendota Mental Health Institute of respiratory failure in 1984 at age 77. He is buried next to his family in the Plainfield Cemetery in a now unmarked grave. I think they kind of unmark serial killers' graves and stuff so people don't vandalize or try to exhume body parts, because people are fucking sick like that. I mean, you do have modern day grave robbers, and they find out oh shit, infamous person here, I'm gonna fucking take their body. You just never know. You guys just never know. People are fucking sick these days. I mean, we live in a reality where people think it's okay to exhume bodies, murder people for fun. Just I don't know. And they'll now that we live in a place where the internet can be also used as a deadly marketplace, things just get more crazier. So I totally get why they put the unmarked grave down for him, because I get they don't want people to dig his ass up. Okay, let's see. Early life. Childhood. Gein was born in La Crosse County, Wisconsin on August 27th, 1906. The second of two boys of George Philip Gein, was born in 1873, died in 1940, and Augusta Wilhelmine Gein, formerly known as Lurky Gein, or now Gein, born in 1978 and died in 1945. Oh, if you guys hear the audio in the back, my mom's watching a movie. Alright. Gein had an older brother named Henry George Gein, who was born in 1901 and died in 1944. Augusta hated her husband, an alcoholic who was unable to keep a job. He had worked in various times as a carpenter, tanner, and an insurance salesman. George owned a local grocery shop for a few years before he sold the business, and the family left the city to live in isolation on a 155-acre farm in a town of Plainsville, Wisconsin, which became the Gein family permanent residence. Augusta took advantage of the farm's isolation by turning away outsiders who could have influenced her sons. Gein left the farm only to attend school. Alright. So, outside of school, Gein spent most of his time doing chores on the farm. Augusta was fervently religious and nominally Lutheran. So they actually were from a strictly religious family. So they were Lutheran. What are your thoughts on Lutherans, Mom?
I don't really know about that much about it. Well, I don't know. Each his own, I guess, but some of them are way out there. I don't think people like. You got crazy shit?
Oh, with those. I forgot what those people are called, the rattlesnakes.
Crazy.
I mean, if you're like,
Daredevil.
well, if you're like a true believer, they said the snakes don't bite you or some shit like that. You ever see The Omen, the second Omen with the girl? And like that girl was
They have a documentary on that thing.
Oh yeah.
That one guy standing up there and he got bit in the neck. Yeah.
By a rattler, right? Was it by a rattler?
Yes, it's all nothing but
rattlers.
Vipers.
Yeah.
Just rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
Cottonmouths.
Ah, shit. Anyway, she preached to her boys about the innate immorality of the world, the evil of drinking, and her belief that all women, apart from herself, were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil. Wow, guys, according to Augusta Gein, we're all whores. We're virtuous, promiscuous whores, according to Augusta Gein. Okay, she reserved a time every afternoon to read them from Bible verses. This is usually selecting verses from the Old Testament in the book of Revelation concerning death, murder, and divine retribution. So, divine retribution. What is divine retribution? My mom's teasing the kitties. Divine retribution is a supernatural punishment of a person, group, or people, or everyone by a deity in response to some action. Many cultures have a story about how deities exacted punishment upon previous inhabitants of their lands and causing their doom. Go ahead. Oh my god, our cat tried to eat a quarter. Fucking psycho. Stop it! So, his mom would be preaching about, you're going to hell if you do this. You're going to go to hell if you meet a promiscuous woman. Don't drink, don't do this. And oh, yeah. It's in my... I just got shot by a ranch. It's in my bag.
How much money you have left of it?
I don't know. Hold on.
2 cents.
No, more than that. A whole quarter. I'm just kidding. I'm just talking shit to my mom, guys. Hold on. I gotta do something real quick.
Oh.
Oh.
And I would need some money from you anyway.
Well, I was gonna just give you Augie's card for
Okay.
that time.
Excuse me. I need to go get some.
You have a grand total of $8.61. Big baller. Alright, guys, back to the story. Ed Gein was a shy lad, and his classmates and teachers remembered him as having such strange mannerisms, such as seemingly random laughter as if he were laughing at his own personal jokes. Hey, I do that too sometimes. It keeps the other people away. As if he were laughing at his own jokes. To make matters worse, Augusta punished him for whenever he tried to make friends. Despite his poor social development, Gein did well in school, particularly in reading. So, damn, his mama was so fucking like, you can't have friends. I don't think I'd be able to do that. I couldn't do it. Could you do it? Could you do it, Mom?
What?
Not have friends?
No.
That's what his mom, like, punished him for trying to make friends.
I left her. No, you have to have friends. Some sort of a communication besides your parents. Parents, I guess you can say with that.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. But sometimes, you know, you need an out. I did. Shit, I went out and my mom was strict. I thought our families were like that, like my family. Shit, I was shocked. And some of the stuff I learned from my friends and my mom.
Really?
And dad, well, basically my mom.
Okay. On May 16th. No. Rewind. On April 1st, April Fool's, 1940, Ed Gein's father, George, died of heart failure caused by his alcoholism. At age 66, Henry and Ed began doing odd jobs around town to help cover living expenses. The brothers were generally considered reliable and honest by residents of the community. While both worked as handymen, Ed also frequently babysat for neighbors. He enjoyed babysitting. Me and my mom just gave each other this fucking look. Oh my god. Oh my god. The brothers were okay. Seeming he enjoyed babysitting and seeming to relate more to easily to children than adults because he had a childlike mind. Maybe it's probably like that. I guess I'm gonna think of that one part on Juice Bigelow. I'm not gonna say the line though. Okay. Henry began dating a divorced mother of two, and planned to move in with her. He worried about his brother's attachment to their mother and spoke ill of her around Ed, who responded with shock and hurt. So I guess you could say his brother tried to talk, shit about their mom. So Ed would get some brains and leave too. But that seemingly backfires.
Maybe he was in love with his mom. He had some kind of mama complex.
That's where they got the inspiration from Psycho, because Ed Gein's complex with his mom, though.
It's like, could be like
Little boy's best friend.
Yeah.
Little boy's best friend's always his mother. Which is actually a quote from Psycho, and a song called Nothing to Gain by the band Mudvayne is actually a song about Ed Gein. You can find that track on LD50. Alright. So, on May 16th, now we're at the right timeline, 1944, Ed and Henry were burning away marsh vegetations on the property. The fire got out of control, drawing the attention of the local fire department. By the end of the day, The fire having been extinguished and firefighters gone, Ed reported his brother missing. With lanterns and flashlights, the search party searched for Henry, whose dead body was found laying face down. Apparently, he had been dead for some time, and it appeared that the cause of death was heart failure, since he had not been burned or injured otherwise.
They didn't go check on their pops? On their pops or nothing?
They were talking to his brother. Their dad already died of heart failure from alcoholism.
And then they found the brother?
They found the brother dead from the supposed heart failure. It was later reported by biographer Harold Schechter that Henry had bruises on his head. The police dismissed the possibility of foul play, and the county coroner later officially listed asphyxiation as the cause of death. Authorities accepted the accident theories, but no official investigation was conducted, and an autopsy was not performed. Questioning. Uh-huh. Questioning Ed Gein about the death of Bernice Warden in 1957, state investigator Joe Wilimowski brought up the questions about Henry's death. George W. Arndt, who studied the case, wrote that in retrospect it was possible and likely that Henry's death was the Cain and Abel aspect of the case. So there was strong thoughts and feelings that he had killed his brother Henry due to the fact that Henry was bad-mouthing their mother. So that was kind of like a retaliation murder, I guess you would call it that way. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's choosy. I mean, people want to choose to believe some weird shit.
It's not weird. Well, I think dichotomia fixation is small. Weird shit going on between mama and son. Brother was talking shit about their mom, so it's not bad. It would be like, I don't know, like someone talking bad about your girlfriend. Then you go beat him up. But with him, he had no filter about how far beat up meant to him.
Gein and his mother were now alone. Ew. Augusta had a paralyzing stroke shortly after Henry's death, and Gein devoted himself to taking care of her. And sometime in 1945, Gein later recounted that he and his mother visited a man named Smith, who lived nearby, to purchase straw. According to Gein, Augusta witnessed Smith beating a dog. A woman inside the Smith home came outside and yelled for him to stop, but Smith had beat the dog to death. Augusta was extremely upset by the scene. However, what bothered her did not appear to be the brutality towards the dog, but rather the presence of the woman. Augusta told Ed that woman was not married to Smith, so she had no business being there. Smith's harlot, Augusta angrily called her. She had a second stroke soon after, and her health deteriorated rapidly. She died on December 29th in 1945 at the age of 67. Ed was devastated by her death, in the words of Arthur Schechter, that he had lost his only friend and one true love, and was absolutely alone in the world. Alright guys, so in psychology, it's like, it's kind of like a weird thing. It's like how some people find their parents like the love of their lives and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to put your finger on it at some point. So it's just kind of like out there. Excuse me, guys. Whew. Alright, so whereas for work, Gein had held on to the farm and earned money from odd jobs. He boarded up the rooms used by his mother, including the upstairs, downstairs parlor, and living room, leaving them untouched, while the rest of the house became increasingly squalid. These rooms remained pristine, and Gein lived thereafter in a small room next to the kitchen. Around this time, he became interested in reading pulp magazines and adventure stories, particularly those involving cannibals or Nazi atrocities. Gein was a handyman and received a farm subsidy from the federal government starting in 1951. He occasionally worked for the local municipal road crew and crop threshing crews in the area. Sometime between 1946 and 1956, he also sold an 80-acre parcel of land that his brother Henry had owned. So he was selling his brother's property, but what was his brother going to do with it? He was dead. Crimes! Oh my God. On the morning of November 16th in 1957, Plainsville hardware store owner Bernice Warden disappeared. The Plainsville resident reported that the hardware store's truck had been driven out of the rear of the building around 9:30 a.m. The hardware store had a few customers the entire day. Some area residents believed that this was because of the deer hunting season. Bernice Warden's son, Deputy Sheriff Frank Warden, entered the store around 5 p.m. to find the store's cashier open and bloodstains on the floor. Frank Warden told investigators that on the evening before his mother's disappearance, Gein had been in the store, but he had been returned to the next day morning for a gallon of antifreeze. A sales slip for the gallon of antifreeze was last receipt written by the warden on the morning that she had disappeared. On the evening of the same day, Gein was arrested at a West Plainfield grocery store and Apiwar. I'm gonna fucking butcher this. I know it. Washara County Sheriff's Department searched the Gein farm. The Washara County Sheriff's deputy discovered Warden's decapitated body in a shed on Gein's property, hung upside down by her legs with a crossbar at her ankles and ropes at her wrists. The torso was dressed out like a deer, as she had been shot with a .22 caliber rifle, and the mutilations were made after her death. So, we're going to go through a whole list of what they found inside the house. If you guys have a weak stomach, I suggest you switch off or skip ahead, whichever floats your boat. But here we go. A whole human bones and fragments, a waste basket made of human skin, a human skin covering several chair seats, skulls on his bedpost, female skulls with some top sewn off, bowls made from human skulls, a corset made from a female torso, skin from shoulder to waist, leggings made from human leg skin.
Was he wearing that shit or was
Yeah, he was.
Ew.
Masks made from female heads. Mary Hogan's face mask in a paper bag.
Trick or treat.
Mary Hogan's skull in a box. Bernice Warden's entire head in a burlap sack. Now, that burlap sack was actually was underneath his bed. Was underneath the mattress. Bernice Warden's heart in a plastic bag in front of Gein's pot-belly stove. 9 vulvas in a shoebox. If you guys know what a vulva is, meow. Yeah, it's gonna come out. It's gonna be a nice shirt. Yeah. Okay. Young girl's dress and the vulvas of 2 females judged to have been around 15 years old. So another thing was that he was a grave robber. So that's where he was getting these various body parts, including the vulvas. A belt made from human nipples.
I saw that.
There's actually images on Google and other websites showing the chairs, the bowls, the nipple belt, the lambskins, the leggings, the female suit that he made. 4 noses, a pair of lips on the window jaw shade. I'm kind of wondering what kind of lips. Upper or lower? Gross. Oh god. A lampshade made from the skin of a human face. Fingernails from female fingers. These artifacts were photographed at the state crime laboratory and then decently disposed of. Disposed of my ass. People found those pictures and they're on Google. When questioning, Gein told investigators that between 47 and 52, he made as many as 40 nocturnal visits to 3 local graveyards to exhume recently buried bodies. That he was in a dazed-like state. About 30 of those visits, he said he came out of the state. Dazed out of his daze. While in the cemeteries, he left the grave in good order and returned home empty-handed. On other occasions, he dug up the recently buried middle-aged women he thought resembled his mother, took the bodies home where he tanned their skins to make his paraphernalia. Gein admitted to stealing from 9 graves from local cemeteries and led investigators to the location. Alan Wamowski of the State Crime Laboratory participated in opening these 3 test graves identified by Gein. These caskets were wooden. Inside boxes, top boards ran crossways, not lengthwise. The tops of the boxes were about 2 feet below in the surface of sandy soil. He had robbed the graves soon as the funerals, while the graves were not completed. So they weren't really buried yet, and he just fucking dug them out of the grave. Stole their bodies. The test graves were exhumed because authorities were uncertain whether the site Gein was capable of single-handedly digging up the grave during a single visit. They were found as Gein described. 2 of the exhumed graves were found empty. One had a crowbar inside the body. The casket was empty. One casket he had failed to open when he lost his pry bar. Most of the bodies were gone from the 3rd grave. He had returned rings and some body parts, thus meaning his confession was largely corroborated. Soon after his mother's death, he Soon after his mother's death, he began to create a woman's suit so he could become his mother, like literally crawl into her skin. Gein denied having sex with the bodies he exhumed because they smelled too bad. During the state crime laboratory interrogation, he admitted to the shooting death of Mary Hogan, a tavern owner missing since 1954, whose head was found in his house. He later denied memory of details of her death. A 16-year-old youth whose parents were friends of Gein, who attended ball games and movies with him, reported that Gein kept shrunken heads in his house, which Gein had described as relics from the Philippines sent by a cousin who had served on the islands of during World War II. Upon investigation, these were determined to be human facial skins, carefully peeled from the corpses that were used by Gein as masks. He was also considered a suspect in several unsolved cases in Wisconsin, including the 1953 disappearance of Evelyn Hartley, a lacrosse babysitter. During questioning, Washoe County Sheriff Art Schley, sorry if I ever mispronounced these guys, reportedly assaulted Gein by banging his head and face into a brick wall. As a result, Gain's initial conviction was ruled inadmissible. Schley died of heart failure at 43 and 68 before Gain's trial. Many who knew Schley said he was traumatized by the horror of Gain's crimes, and all of this, along with the fear of having to testify, especially about assaulting Gein, caused his death. One of his friends said, "He is a victim of Ed Gein surely as of Ed Gein as surely as if he had butchered him." I don't know how to feel about that, guys. Trial. Oh, wow. Okay. We're almost done, guys. I promise. On November 21st in 1957, Gein was arraigned on account of first-degree murder in Wilshire County Court, where he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. So what does pleading not guilty by insanity? The insanity defense, also known as the mental disorder defense, is an affirmative defense by excuse in a criminal case, arguing that the defendant was not responsible for their actions due to an episodic or persistent psychiatric disease at the time of the criminal act. So saying you lost your shit for like a few minutes and you didn't know what the hell happened. Gein was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was found mentally incompetent, thus unfit for trial. He was sent to Central State Hospital for the criminally insane, now the Dodge Correctional Institution and Maximum Facility in Waupun, Wisconsin, and was later transferred to the Mendota State Hospital in Madison, Wisconsin. In 1968, doctors determined Gein was mentally able to confer with counsel and could participate in his defense. The trial began on November 7th, 1968, and lasted 1 week. A psychiatrist testified that Gein had told him that he did not know whether the killing of Bernice Worden was intentional or accidental. Gein had told him that he examined the gun at Worden's store. The gun went off, killing Worden. Gein testified that later he had tried to load a bullet into the rifle. It discharged, and he said it had not aimed a rifle at Worden and did not remember anything else after that morning. French fry break, guys. At the request of the defense, Gein's trial was held without a jury. And Judge Robert H. Gulmar presiding, Gein was found guilty by Gulmar on November 14th. The second trial dealt with Gein's sanity after testimony by doctors for the prosecutors and the defense. Gulmar ruled Gein not guilty by reason of insanity and ordered him to be committed into Central State Hospital for the criminally insane. He spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Judge Gulmar wrote, due to prohibitive costs, Gein was tried for one murder, that of Miss Worden. He also had admitted to killing Mary Hogan. Okay. Who wants to know what happened to his property? Gein's house and a 195-acre property were appraised at $4,000, equivalent to $42,000 in 2020. So his farm now, or last year, would have been at a value at $42,000, which, but back then, was appraised at $4,700. His possessions were scheduled to be auctioned off on March 30th, 1958, amidst rumors that the house and the land it stood on might become a tourist attraction. On the early morning of March 20th, the house was destroyed by fire. A deputy fire marshal reported that a garbage fire had been set 75 feet away from the house by a cleaning crew, who were given a task of disposing of refuse that hot coals were recovered from the spot of the bonfire, but the fire did not spread along the ground from that location to the house. Arson was suspected, but the cause of the fire was never officially determined. But it was possible that the fire was not considered an emergency by the fire chief, Frank Worden, son of Bernice Worden, Gein's last victim. When Gein learned about the incident while in detention, he shrugged and said, "Just as well. Like, I'm here. What am I gonna do with the house?" You know? Oh shit. Gein's 1949 Ford sedan, which was used to haul the bodies of his victims, was sold at a public auction for $760, equivalent to $6,800 in 2020, to a carnival sideshow operator, Bunny Gibbons. Gibbons charged carnival goers 25 cents admission to see it. And back then, 25 cents was a lot.
Back to the just bury him back again.
They couldn't identify the pieces.
So still, you're morbid. Talk about shit.
Okay. Gein died at the Mendota Mental Health Facility due to respiratory failure secondary to lung cancer on July 26, 1984, at the age of 77. Over the years, souvenir seekers chipped pieces from his gravestone at the Plainsville Cemetery until the stone itself was stolen in 2000. It was recovered in June 2001 near Seattle, Washington, and was placed in storage at the Washoe County Sheriff's Department. The grave itself is now unmarked, but not unknown. Gein is interred between his parents and brother in the cemetery. So, guys, in pop culture, everybody knows the infamous movie Psycho. There are some pieces of his life thrown into or adapted into Psycho. The alarming closeness of Norman Bates to his mother is that of Ed Gein and his mother. Like I named earlier, The Deranged, In the Light of the Moon, Ed Gein, The Butcher of Plainsville. Ed Gein actually have a fucking musical. Like, how stupid are you to fucking make a serial killer musical? Oh my god, fucking people. Rob Zombie films include that of The House of a Thousand Corpses and the sequel, The Devil's Rejects. He was featured in The House of a Thousand Corpses on Captain Spaulding's Murder Ride. Plus the fascination of skinning human beings by Otis Driftwood. Okay, let's see. Of course, Leatherface, Buffalo Bill. Cue silence. Cue Goodbye Horses. American filmmaker Errol Morris and German filmmaker Werner Herzog attempted unsuccessfully to collaborate on a film project about Gein from 1975 to 76. Morris interviewed Gein several times and ended up spending most of the year in Plainfield interviewing dozens of locals. The pair planned to secretly exhume Gein's mother from her grave to test a theory, but never followed through on the scheme and eventually ended their collaboration. The aborted project was described in 1989's Profile of Morris. That's fucked. To test a theory, you're gonna dig up his mom? To test the theory, they were just gonna I have no idea.
What was that supposed to prove?
I didn't say. Oh my god. Okay. The character Patrick Bateman in a 1991 novel American Psycho and its 2000 film adaptation mistakenly attributes a quote by Edmund Kemper to Gein, saying, "You know what Ed Gein said about women? He said, and I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out and talk to her and be real nice and sweet and treat her right. The other part wonders what her head would look like on a stick." Huh. Okay. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, kitties, my faithful listeners, that was the movie lists and the abrupt life of Ed Gein, the Plainsville Ghoul. If you want to see pictures of his nipple belts and face lampshades, you can Google it. Next episode is going to be the son of Sam, aka David Berkowitz. So, like I said, I'm going to keep doing this all the way to Halloween, and Halloween episode is going to be based on Cannibal Cafe and I'm in my Vis. So, thank you guys for listening. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and follow the rules. Don't be a jackass. Alright? You guys know my socials. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.